Okay, here's a video on section 8.4. This is about solving right triangles. When it says to solve the triangle, this means that you are to find all missing pieces. So the first thing that you want to look at for number 2 is what exactly is missing. So you know that you need to find the measure of angle B, that's missing. And you also know that you have to find two sides. The first side is this one right here. Remember that sides are named with lowercase letters opposite the angle. So this guy, the angle opposite, is capital B, so that means that this is going to be lowercase b. This right here is angle C, and opposite that is going to be lowercase c, which would mean that this guy right here, this guy right here would be lowercase a, but it has a number, so we don't need that. So I'm looking for side B, and I'm also looking for side C. These are the three things that I need. Now, the measure of angle B is easy because I know that all three angles add up to 180 degrees. I also know that since I've already used up 90 degrees, that means the other two have to be complements of each other. So in order to get the measure of angle B, all I have to do is 90 degrees minus 31 degrees 40 minutes. And that's going to go right into the calculator. And so I'm going to get that the measure of angle B then is 58 degrees, 20 minutes. If what you're given is in DMS, then you also need to answer in DMS. Now, in order to find the two sides, I'm going to use SOHCAHTOA, and it's best if you use things that are given. So I'm going to use my given angle. So I'm focusing on angle A, and I know that according to angle A, this side is my adjacent, that side is my opposite, and this side is always my hypotenuse no matter what angle I'm focusing on. So in order to find, I can't find B and C at the same time, I have to find them separately. So in order to find side B, then I'm going to use adjacent and opposite. Well, the only thing that uses adjacents and opposites is tangent. So I'm going to set up an equation. Tangent of angle A, but I don't need to write angle A. I'm going to write what it's worth, which is 31 degrees 40 minutes, is equal to opposite 35.9 divided by adjacent, which is side B. So now let's multiply by B on both sides, and then divide by the tangent on both sides. So that's going to be B is equal to 35.9 divided by tangent of 31 degrees 40 minutes. You're working in degrees here, so make sure your calculator is in degrees, and you'll want to pause this, type this into your calculator. When you type it into your calculator, you should get 58.2028 degrees. Remember that we talked about we talked about last week how if it doesn't say how to round, you always go 4 places. So you have 50, sorry, that is not a degree. I apologize. That's a side. So you have 58.2028. Technically it's kilometers, but I only really care about the label if it's a story problem. So now I'm going to do the exact same thing to go find side C. Side C is my hypotenuse, and I'm going to use my opposite. So opposites and hypotenuses, that's going to be my sine. So setting up an equation then, sine of my angle A, which is 31 degrees 40 minutes, is going to equal opposite divided by hypotenuse. 35.9 divided by my hypotenuse C. So once again then, you'll want to get C by itself, and I'm going to do 2 steps in one here. I'm going to multiply by C, and I'm going to divide by my sine. So it's going to be C is equal to 35.9 divided by sine of 31 degrees 40 minutes. So you want to pause, go ahead, type that into your calculator, and you should get a C value of 68.3840. Again, that's in kilometers, but we'll worry about that when it's a story problem. For number 4, same concept. Let's figure out what we're missing, and we'll go from there. So the side opposite is going to be called lowercase y. This side opposite is going to be called lowercase x. So I'm missing the measure of angle y. I'm missing side x, and I'm missing side y. So once again, in order to find the measure of angle y, I just have to find the complement of my 47.8 degree angle. Sorry, there should be a degree symbol there. And so I'm just going to do measure of angle y, I will find by doing 90 minus 47.8. So the measure of angle y then is going to be 42.2 degrees. Notice that I was given decimal degrees, so I'm answering in decimal degrees. So now I'm going to find x and y separately. Notice that according to the angle I've been given, this is my opposite, this is my hypotenuse. So that's going to be sine. Set up an equation. Sine of my angle, 47.8, is going to be opposite x divided by hypotenuse, 89.6. Multiply on both sides by 89.6. And you're going to get an x out. Again, you're in degree mode because we're working in degrees. So go ahead, type that into your calculator. And you should get 66.3761. In this case, it's centimeters. 66.3761. Now I need to go back and I need to find my y. So this is my adjacent and my hypotenuse. Adjacent and hypotenuse is going to be cosine. So cosine of 47.8 is going to be adjacent y divided by hypotenuse, 89.6. So the math is very similar. 89.6 times the cosine of 47.8 is equal to y. Plug that into your calculator, and you should get that your y value is 60.1862. Okay, number 10 I'm not going to do because it's very similar to number 16, which is what I'm going to do here in just a moment. Number 12 I'm also not going to do because it's very similar to number 4. So let's go ahead and jump down to number 16. But before I do that, I need to read the instructions. So it says, solve the right triangle. So again, I'm finding everything missing. Angle C is my 90-degree angle. And this is actually what I just talked about. If the angle is in DMS, then I need to answer the same way. If my angle is in decimal degrees, I need to answer the same way, just like I've modeled for you in the last 2 questions. However, if I don't have any angles, which is what you're going to see in number 16, if I have no angles at all, then I need to answer with degrees and minutes. My angle answers, I need to answer with degrees and minutes. So we're going to go down to number 16. And before I do anything, I need a picture. So I'm drawing a right triangle. My directions say that my right angle has to be angle C. So that means A and B are the other two. Just pick one, call it A, and the other one call it B. Side A is going to be opposite angle A. So side A is going to be 958 meters. Side B, opposite angle B, will be 489 meters. So figuring out what I'm missing then, I'm missing the measure of angle A, I'm missing the measure of angle B, and I'm missing side C. Now, side C can be found with the Pythagorean theorem. These are really big numbers, but it's still doable. So then my Pythagorean theorem is going to be 489 squared plus 958 squared is equal to side C squared. And then I'm going to take the square root of both sides. So actually, when I enter this into the calculator, I go ahead and take the square on the right-hand side and I square root both sides. So in my calculator, I'm going to type in the square root of, all in parentheses, 489 squared plus 958 squared. If you do that correctly, then you're going to get 1075.5859. Again, this is in meters, but I don't really need that because I'm not working with a story problem. Now, I made a statement last week that talked about how inverses find angles. So the next two things that I need to find are my angles, so I'm going to use inverses for that. So let's go find measure of angle A first. And I'm going to go with values that I've already been given. I can see that the 489 is my adjacent and the 958 is my opposite. So opposites and adjacents are going to be found by using tangent. So setting up my equation, tangent of angle A, because I don't know angle A, is equal to 958 divided by 489, opposite divided by adjacent. And then I'm going to use inverses in my calculator. So if I want to find angle A, I will type in tangent inverse of 958 divided by 489. Go ahead and pause, type that in. And you're going to get here an A value of 62 degrees 58 minutes. Now I can go back and do the exact same thing for my B value, but I could also just say, since A and B are complements of each other, to find angle B, I can just do 90 minus my 62 degrees 58 minutes. So my angle B is going to be 27 degrees 2 minutes. All right, now we have a ladder. Before we start on this, let's go ahead and read it through. You have an 18-foot ladder. It's resting on a building wall. Now we're going to make an assumption that our wall is standing up straight, and we're going to make an assumption that the ground is horizontal, so that the wall and the ground meet at a right angle. And my ladder is resting against the building, and it says that my ladder is 18 feet. The base of the ladder forms an angle with the ground at 40 degrees 30 minutes. So that means this angle right here is 40 degrees 30 minutes. Find the distance the ladder goes up the wall. So I want this distance right here. So once again, focus on the one angle you have. This is going to be my opposite side, and this is my hypotenuse, since this is a right angle. So opposites and hypotenuses are going to be taken care of by sine. So I have sine of my angle, 40 degrees 30 minutes, is equal to opposite x divided by hypotenuse, 18. Multiply on both sides by 18. Plug that into your calculator. And you should get an x value that is 11.6901 feet. It doesn't tell us how to round, so we're using 4 places, Robert's rounding rules. So next, we're talking about angle of elevation and angle of depression. Both of these have to start like an angle in standard position. Both of these have to start on the horizontal or on the positive x-axis. An angle of elevation starts at the horizontal and goes up. An angle of depression starts at the horizontal and goes down. Both start at the horizontal. For time's sake, I'm skipping over number 30 and I'm going straight into the example here with a helicopter. You have another video that teaches you how to draw the picture for this problem, so make sure you go back and watch that on YouTube. So it says the angle of depression from a helicopter 3,000 feet directly above an Allied mortar station. So let's stop right there. I have a helicopter that's above a mortar station. I'm going to call it MS for mortar station. And it's 3,000 feet above that mortar station. This is my helicopter. And it says that from the helicopter, I have an angle of depression. Remember, that angle of depression has to start at the horizontal. And my angle of depression goes to a supply depot. So from the helicopter to a supply depot, I'm going to call it SD for supply depot, that angle is 13 degrees. So starting at the horizontal and working my way down, I have a 13-degree angle. How far is the depot from the mortar station? So I want to know, how far is it between these two? The problem with this is that I don't have any angles on the inside of my triangle, but I do know that the vertical and the horizontal have to make a 90-degree angle. So if I've already used up 13 degrees, then the other angle has to be 77 degrees. My 3,000 is adjacent. My X is opposite. Adjacents and opposites are used in tangent. So the tangent of 77 degrees is equal to opposite X divided by adjacent 3,000. Multiply on both sides by 3,000. Put that into your calculator. And you're going to get 12,994.4276. Make sure you put a label on this. We were not told how to round, so I'm going to keep the 4 places. And your label is in feet. This next example is where we stopped in class. Make sure that this is where we're going to pick up on the next class period. Make sure, please, that you go back and watch the video on how to draw a picture for this example, because when I start your next video, it's going to start with the picture already drawn. And then you also need the picture for the ship question that's next. So the next 2 pictures, make sure you have those drawn before I come back on the next class period.